problems regarding the forthcoming coronation of King Charles III on May the 6th. This time, though, not necessarily leaning towards senior members of the British monarchy, but someone that truly does rely on money, funding, marketing, content, whatever you want to call it, in order for that particular organisation to survive. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. And as ever, thank you so much for joining me today. Yes, we're all really very excited, whatever people say. Someone recently on the comments, by the way, said to me, oh, Neil's a monarchist. Well, of course you're a monarchist. You couldn't necessarily report on this without actually enjoying certain aspects of the monarchy. But the bottom line is, I see the stories for what they are. You know, when someone does a bad thing, like say, for instance, Prince Andrew, we have to report on that. You know, good things we report on as well. I don't know if that makes you a monarchist, but simply, you know, it's about history, isn't it? We're talking about our history, the British royal family, and good and bad. And let's face it, when you look through the centuries, they've never had really positive or great press. They have moments of good press, but never lasting for long because seemingly there's always something else around the corner. Back as ever, though, to the bigger problem now, particularly if you're the commercial channel over here, ITV. This is because they've been planning, as one can imagine, their forthcoming royal coverage. All channels want to make this their best. You know, what I never understand with the mainstream media, though, is everybody focuses literally on the same view. So you, the viewer, basically get the same view regardless of whatever channel. And seemingly they believe that you will remain loyal to that channel because you love, of course, those presenters. Two presenters who you did fall out with for quite a while were deemed the queue jumpers. That's right, Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield. And the bigger problem now is, given the turmoil surrounding in his personal life, Philip Schofield, with nothing to do with him, but its association. Sadly for him, his younger brother has now just been requested at His Majesty's pleasure for a stint inside prison, jail, whichever way you want to put it. Now, the problem that they have, of course, ITV, naturally, normally these particular times, given also that Philip and Holly are two of their highest paid presenters, they would have required his services. But they're still in sort of and ahhing mode as to whether the public will indeed, well, shall we say, embrace this idea. Now, of course, there are other presenters that they have of equal measure. But when you're paying literally millions of pounds to one solo presenter, you believe and know that you have to get your value's worth out of them. The problem, as I say, is, and I personally believe this, Philip himself shouldn't necessarily be attached to this rather disgraceful behaviour. But of course it's the world's media, isn't it? And the world's media attach stories to it. Famous brother, disgraced brother, you know the way it works. So the bottom line now is that ITV are still in a quandary as to who they're going to make their main anchors on this prestigious occasion. Of course, given the fact that they were accused, and they deny this, of queue jumping at Our Late Majesty's lying in state, of which was very, very debatable because we never actually saw really any footage of what they allegedly were there for, included, of course, their editor, Martin Frizzell. One would question whether it's a wise choice, even just with that debacle behind them, to have this very expensive duo fronting what would consider to be one of the most prestigious events of not just this year, but perhaps the decade. As ever, it's a developing story, and when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.